Coming up on this episode of the Glory Hour, how former USA boxing champ Tika Hemingway found resilience and learned to relish in victory after a traumatic childhood experience left her hopeless. She sat down with me at Weight Masters Boxing Gym in Pittsburgh to share her story of how a chance encounter on a street corner changed the course of her life, led her into the ring, and into purpose. I'm so glad you're joining me for the Glory Hour because you are about to meet and hear the story of an incredible, phenomenal woman of God, Tika Hemingway. She's a former USA boxing champ. You were on the Olympic team, and you are homegrown from Pittsburgh. Tika, I'm so happy to have you with me today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So there's an interesting way that we connected. So you're very bold. And so everybody, like Tika reached out to me, sent me an email. You shared your whole story, your background, and you said you found out about Cornerstone because on a billboard.
I did. So I was driving in my neighborhood. First off, I wanted to get on Cornerstone. It was always in the back of my mind. So I was driving down. I was in my neighborhood, and I was driving down the street, and I saw a huge billboard, and I saw your picture on it with Cornerstone and the Glory Hour, and then I saw your name, and then it flashed away, and I said, I'm gonna contact her. And that night I emailed you, and you emailed me back the next day, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. So when I got the email, my heart was so touched. And I was just like, absolutely, just like to hear your story. So let's jump into it. Tell us a little bit about your background and about you.
All right, so I'll tell you basically my story. My whole entire childhood, I was a basketball player. That's all I wanted to do was go to the WNBA. I wanted to be like Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, all of those women. When I was a child, I played basketball, and I wanted to be a basketball star. So I played in a basketball game this one particular day. I played in a basketball game. I was in 9th grade. After the game, we got on an activity bus. And when we were on the activity bus, everyone was cutting up on the bus. So the bus driver told us, he pulled over, and he said, give me everybody's names because you guys are about to get in trouble. I was only a block away from my original bus stop, so I asked the bus driver, can I get off the bus? I don't want to get in trouble. I'm only a block away. He said I could, so I got off the bus. It's about 8 o'clock at night at this time. So I got off the bus, and I'm walking home, and I saw a man, and I didn't think anything of it. So I'm walking home, and the same man that I saw came up behind me, and he beat me up on the street corner, beat me up really badly, and then he pulled me into an abandoned house, and that's where he raped me. He essayed me for, a long time in that house. And I was eventually able to get out later on. And after I got out the house, I told myself I would never tell that story. I would never tell anybody what happened to me. I was always going to keep it to the grave, Like, that was embarrassing. And I couldn't just utter those words. I couldn't just say it, I was raped. I couldn't say it. So I told myself I was going to keep it to myself. I went back to school. Everything was normal. Then a few months later, my stomach started growing. And then I found out I'm pregnant from the man who raped me. I'm only 14 years old. So I didn't tell anybody when it first happened, because I was too scared. So now I'm pregnant, mysteriously pregnant. So that's when the bullying started. All my friends started bullying me. My family started bullying me. Even worse, my mom was, calling me whores and all the bad names in the book. Everybody. So everywhere I went, I'm a 14-year-old pregnant girl, and now I had to drop out of school because of the bullying. It got so bad. So now, I'm a high school dropout. I went from being a basketball star, wanting to go to the WNBA, and now I'm a 14-year-old pregnant high school dropout with no hope. I ended up having the child, and then I was still a high school dropout, right? So a few years go past, and I'm just out in the world, just doing nothing, just out here, roaming the world. So then now I'm 17, and I started to see all my friends graduate in school, and they're like going to the prom, they're going to get their hair done, they're working on their end of the year graduation projects. They're thinking about college, So the day of graduation, the day before graduation, I just couldn't take it. I just broke down. Like I broke down and I just started crying so badly. And it was so bad that I fell all the way down on the floor, and I was crying on the floor. And I was crying on the floor all night. My face was on the basement floor, in the cold basement floor. And I'll never forget how cold that floor was. And when the rocks were still stuck in my face. But I was crying on that floor all night, crying out to God, praying, asking him to change my life, asking him to give me a second chance, asking him if he showed me something else, I promise I will do so much. If he gave me a second chance, I promise I will help so many people that has been through the same thing I've been through. If he did something for me, just help me out, just gave me something else, just gave me some type of hope, God, I will help so many women and girls in this situation. I will help so many girls if you give me a second chance. So that was my prayer from late at night, like 9 o'clock late at night. I was laying on that cold floor until the morning, all night. I would wake up, cry, and pray again, fall asleep. And I emphasize this, me being on the basement floor, because a lot of development happened on that basement floor. So when I was talking to God. So I got up. The next day, remember, they're graduating that day. So, I was supposed to graduate that day. So the next day, I'm walking to one of the stores with one of my friends, and I'm a big jokester. I have a personality. I'm so fun. I like to kind of rip on people. In Pittsburgh, we say rip. Mm-hmm. So I like to rip on people, but only to the person that I'm with. So I'm ripping on everybody everybody I see, I'm ripping on them. And we're cracking up, walking to the store. And when we get to the store, I see this man, he had on all this army fatigue. So I start ripping on his clothes, cracking up. Then when we get closer, she's like, oh, I know him. He's a boxing trainer. And I said, oh, all right, watch this. I started laughing. I said, watch this. I'm going to go up to him and ask him to train me, right? And I only was going to ask him that just for the comebacks. I wanted to make my friend laugh. So I was going to ask him to train me, and I was going to have a joke whatever answer he had, So I asked him to train me. I said, excuse me, sir, I heard you're a boxing trainer. Can you train me? And he said no, like just that. And then I looked at my friend, and I said, excuse me, sir, I hear you're a boxing trainer. Can you train me? And he said, nah. And then he brushed me off. And I looked at my friend. Then I said, excuse me, sir, I hear you're a boxing trainer. Can you train me? What I gotta do? Can you train me? And he said, look, let me tell you, everybody always say they want to box, but nobody's ever serious. Nobody want to box. Everybody always say it, but nobody ever want to come. Nobody stay in the gym. No, just like that. So I said, no, I really want to box. And he's saying no still. And the more and more he told me no, the more and more I stood on 10. I stuck my feet in the ground and I stood on 10. Because the more and more he said no, the more and more I stopped playing with my friend. The more and more I started stepping to him, really, really wanting to really, really box. So he said, if you're so serious, let's go to the gym right now. So I looked at my friend. She's looking everywhere, just not paying attention. So I said, all right, let's go to the gym, because I wanted to box. I really did. Boxing was my heart at this time. I wanted to box. So he said, "You so seriously go to the gym right now?" So it was dangerous, but we got in his car and we went across the bridge and we went to the gym. We went to the boxing gym. And we went to the boxing gym. We trained for about an hour. You know, I've been in the gym, you know, every day since that. That man became a father figure to me. We were in the gym every single day, starting the next day. We were in the gym every single day. And that's when I went on to, you know, win my first national boxing championship, where I became the first female from Western PA to win the national boxing title. So that made me qualified to, you know, I'm a walking history. So with that, I got on Team USA. You know, I traveled the world with Team USA. I'm the first female from Western PA to win a national boxing title. I have a permanent exhibit in the Heinz History Sports Museum, which is a part of the Smithsonian. You know, my amateur record was 100 wins, 13 losses. I'm pro now. My professional record is 2-0. And I also train with Roy Jones Jr., the legend Roy Jones Jr., you know, and I have my program here, Pittsburgh Girls Box, where I give back, you know, to, you know, the women and the girls in my community.
Hearing your story, because I know, like, I heard about it when we talked over the phone, and just even hearing more detail, I just want to ask you, just what does it do for you when you're in the ring?
What does it do for me when I'm
when you're in the ring and you're fighting? What does that, like, do for you? Just like, you know, I just think of, you just shared your whole story, your whole testimony of just how much of a fight you had in your personal life, but what happens when you get in the ring and you're just...
What happens when I get in the ring?
Yeah, like...
Actually, I'm about to add a little bit more to my story and then tell you what happens when I get in the ring, because you'll get a better perspective of my thought process, right? So let me tell you why I started this program, and then I'll tell you about, you know, what happens when I get in the ring, because it's all connected. So yeah, so I just told you guys my story about how I got into boxing, and this is why I started my program. So everyone hates me because I don't watch TV, right? I told you that on the phone.
You did.
Everyone hates it. Everyone hates me for it. I don't care about TV. I don't watch it. I believe it's a lot of propaganda, and, you know, I just don't like it. So this one day, I'm sitting in my house on my bed, just sitting there. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting there. And something tells me, like, it's a man's voice, and it was so annoying, and it kept on saying, "Turn on the TV, turn on the TV." So now I'm walking around the house ignoring it on purpose, and it kept on saying, "Turn on the TV." So I played a game with myself. I said, I'm gonna turn on the TV and see what happens. So I turned on the TV, and it was the news. It was a news story of a young girl that was 14 years old in Homewood. She got off the school bus, and she got pulled by her hair. She was walking home. And a man pulled her by her hair, pulled her into his truck, drove all the way to Homestead, raped her in his car, in his truck in Homestead, and then just left her in Homestead. Her aunt lived in Homestead, and she knew where her aunt lived from the smokestacks. So she was able to find her aunt's house, and then she was able to get help. And that was on the news. And I just started, as soon as I saw that story, I started bawling out crying. I started bawling crying because, you know, that story is me. I just didn't tell anybody mine, you know? That story was me. I just didn't tell anybody. So I started bawling, crying, bawling, crying. And I said, you know what? I wish I could find that girl. I wish I could find that girl. And kept on saying that to myself. I wish I could find her. Then I said, you know what? I can find that girl. I could find that girl and so many other women and girls if I just came out with my story. So that's what made me be bold enough to come out with my story publicly, that girl. But that's what made me come out with my story and to help other women and girls help find themselves and help find their stories, you know, and their passion and their purpose in life. So that's why I came up with the program Pittsburgh Girls Box.
So even when and circling back, because it's all connected, because I remember we were sharing like that moment of saying like that girl's my story. No, we talked because I'm a survivor of sexual trauma too, and I think it's those moments when, like you turned on the news, that was like God telling you like turn that on, because that's her story is your story and my story, and we got to do something to stand up for these women and girls. So tell us about like Pittsburgh girls boxing. What happens when you're in the ring and with those young women? What comes inside as like a fighter within that you've never experienced?
What happens? It's my time to minister. I just recently became an ordained minister, and what's crazy about my story is the day that I got into boxing is the day that I got into ministry. The man on the corner wasn't just standing there. He wasn't just standing there. That man was doing street ministry. I didn't mention the microphone, and I didn't mention, the setup that he had. That man was on the corner doing street ministry. I caught him, whenever he was not talking, So to go back to your question, whenever I'm in here with those women, it just brings me back to that day, that first day in the gym where, I didn't, know what was about to happen, but he just knew that he was going to change my life. So when I'm in here with them, I just see hope. That's all I see. I see a lot of hope. I see a lot of women that I can instill my story into, instill my values into, teach them self-defense, confidence, teach them about God, teach them about not giving up on God, It just makes me feel good. I've been, the day I started boxing, this program is what I've been wanting to do. It's my dream to make a positive impact on as many women and girls' lives as possible. So that program helps me bring people closer to God.
I think it's beautiful, because there's something about getting in the ring and I know it's like trauma survivors and just taking it all out, because there's this intense anger sometimes of our silence and what's happened to us, but we aren't able to express it. We can't say it, and maybe it's years. Like, you just said it's like for years you didn't want to say anything. You didn't want to, because there's a lot of shame that's attached to it. But I think what's so beautiful and what I loved when you reached out to me and we even talked on the phone is that it's getting your power back, with somebody that stole all of that, but it's like reclaiming that in a big way.
Getting your power back. So yeah, people always ask me how I was able to stay sane. And this is how one of the things that has helped me. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy, right? So if you purposely come to me and try to steal my dreams, steal my innocence, kill me, kill my future, destroy my hope, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That is his purpose. So if the devil comes up to me, my opponent comes up to me and tries to hurt me, do you think I'm going to help them hurt me by laying down and giving them my arm and twisting it up, helping them? No, I'm not. I'm not going to help them fulfill their purpose by killing myself more, destroying myself more. You know what I mean? Because he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So if I'm going to do the opposite, which is live, I'm going to live. The opposite of steal, kill, and destroy is live life, So I've always relished in victory and always thought about the victory, instead of being depressed and crying, I knew that one day I was going to be strong enough to, tell my story and help other people. And that has been my way of, coping and dealing with what the devil tried to do to me. He didn't win,
Yeah. Like, I think you're like, I love what you're saying, what the devil tried to do to you at a young age. And and I think your whole story is just a testament of that, where it's like, I think relishing in victory of just recognizing that, we overcome because of Jesus. It's because when he gets in the fight with us, because he's Emmanuel, God with us, there's nothing that's unstoppable. And I love how your personal story took on like a physical form of that, getting in the ring and just, you're taking out your opponent.
Yeah. I have a lot of fights. My amateur record was 100 wins, 13 losses. I've been all around the world competing with the best of the best fighters, and the whole entire time I always thought about the victory. I always knew that if I did everything I could do to prepare, the victory is mine. Just like you have to do everything to prepare for for God and to do everything right here on earth.
And I want to go circle back to something because I know you were talking about it a little bit before, and it all connects to relishing in victory, you being an ordained minister. So tell us about the man that had such a profound, significant impact in your life, and is the reason, full circle, how you became an ordained minister.
Okay, yeah. So the guy, Sheldon Stoudemire, he was the man who got me into boxing, and he is also a reverend. His name is Reverend Sheldon Stoudemire. So, like I said, the next day after we started boxing, we started the ministry. Well, he was already doing the street ministry. I had to tag along with him for years, to all the neighborhoods for hours, and I would have to sit there and watch him do street ministry for hours. We would train for hours in the morning, and then at night I would watch him, and everyone remembers this in Pittsburgh because he's known for street ministry, and everyone remembers me sitting there watching him and his crew, doing the street ministry. So I've been groomed, I've been groomed since I was 17 years old. This isn't new, I've been groomed for this.
And just for clarification, this is the man, the Army fatigue.
The Army fatigue, the Reverend Sheldon Stoudemire. He was a reverend. We would go to church. We would be in church every Sunday and Monday and Wednesday. We were just always in church, just always, And I saw the impact that he had on Pittsburgh. I saw, the impact that he had on the people that he touched. And I wanted to be just like him. He, showed me who God was, Blessed, Psalm 144, blessed be the Lord, my strength, who teaches my hands to war and my fingers to fight. So it's like all of that everything he instilled in me, I use to this day. He was, killed at work or whatever, so his legacy, still lives, and it also lives through me,
Yeah, and I remember when you were sharing your story because, like you just said, he was tragically, his life was taken too soon, murdered at work, and just seeing full circle, you know, that how that day that, you're standing, you come across on, because you were joking around, you trained me how to box, but you never knew, God used that moment to rewrite your whole story and to see where you are now. And I think it's just so beautiful because, here you are, this powerful woman of God that is, unashamed of her testimony, sharing it with others, creating this platform in this ministry of Pittsburgh Girls Box. And it just makes me, it brings so much joy to my heart when I meet women like you. I know we're close to the same age of, you're taking your pain and using it as a purpose in a greater way. And it's amazing that that one thing that the enemy meant for evil, right? That one tragic thing that happened, but now God is taking you all around the world, is using you in Pittsburgh. What a story.
Yeah, thanks. And it's crazy because all of my mentors are reverends. Even my mentor right now, Roy Jones Jr., he's one of my trainers, and his manager, James Brown, is an ordained minister, and he calls me every single day, and he's always sending me scriptures and, instilling God into me even more, and, talking about the word. So it's I'm just, I just have I'm just surrounded by, godly people.
That's beautiful. And I was just when you're just saying that, what dropped in my spirit. So what is it like for you to live in freedom now with your story, that it's out there? What's that freedom like for you?
To be honest, it feels liberating. I did not know that that's all I had to do. All those years, that's all I had to do was tell my story. All that time, I held that in. All those times I was crying, all those mental hospitals that I was in, all of everything. Like, all I had to do was tell my story, and I would have been free. If I'd have just told my story in the beginning, but I don't know, but that's how I feel. I feel liberated, and I feel free, and I feel just great that I'm using, what the devil tried to do to me, to help people win.
Yeah. When you were just sharing that, I got chills all over my body when you said I feel liberated, and you said all I have to do is just tell my story. And I know God makes everything beautiful in his time, because there's, we have to process the story and go through the story, because it was years before I even opened up. But isn't it amazing? It's like the biggest lie that we believe is don't say anything, just hold it in, just keep it closed. And the minute you start opening your mouth, because it's like the enemy knows if I open my mouth and I start testifying what happened, and I didn't take my life, the drugs didn't kill me, all that stuff, like, you're a walking miracle. You're a walking miracle.
Yeah, and coming out with your story is very liberating, but also coming out with your story, you have to take the attacks that come with it as well. So one of the reasons at 14 that I didn't tell my story was because I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't want to have to keep on saying keywords, like certain words that you have to say when you tell the story. I didn't want to say those key words because of my innocence. So that was one of the reasons why I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything because it was so heavy in my family. Sexual essay or sexual abuse was so heavy in my family, and I had one of those families that swept it under the rug. It is in my family, and they sweep it under the rug in my family. And it's not talked about in my family. And the uncles that are doing the stealing, killing, destroying, they're still happily in the family. So I come from one of those families. So that was a reason for me more not to say anything, because I'm just telling the family that it is like So that's another reason why I didn't want to say anything. But now, it's like I'm helping a lot of people heal. Even, the family that might, be living like that, sweeping everything under the rug. I'm helping them heal, letting the women know that, no, that's not right. You can say something. Letting the men know that, no, you do need to be held accountable. And I am empowering these women and other women to open up their mouths and hold you guys accountable, you men and women accountable for what you're doing. You know what I mean? So I believe that me opening up my mouth, it comes with a lot of attacks as far as, attention, or you're lying, or you're attention seeking, or you just you wanna whatever, but I don't have time for those people, because God didn't give me this story. God did not give me a second chance to be yapping and arguing with these people who don't believe me. So what I do is push them to the side, because you are not my audience. My audience is the people that has been in the same shoes as me, who are still in that same spot, don't know what to do, and they're looking for victory. And my people is the people who need me. I'm relishing in victory right now. The whole time that I was on that floor, I knew that if God gave me a chance, and I was going to pick up the ball and I was going to run with it. So basically, I don't care about nobody who don't believe me, or nobody who think that me coming out with my story is lame. I don't care about none of that. I'm talking to the people like us. What's up? What's up? Y'all wanna lay down forever? Y'all wanna get up? Let's relish in victory. Let's win.
Like when you were just saying that whole thing, like it's just so powerful, because I think of, before, I feel like the fight, right? Like it's a different fight, because I'm opening up, I'm sharing my story, and I don't care who, like, I don't care. I'm speaking my truth because,
Yeah.
you know, the Bible's clear, like, you know, you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. It's one of my favorite scriptures. And one of the biggest things I remember somebody shared with me is to say to one survivor to another, I believe you. Those are the most powerful words because you can be in situations where people start like, and you know, we hear about this in families and it's generational, you know, it's happened to me or it's happened to auntie and grandma, it's going down the line. But there's some power when I can say, I believe what you're saying and I don't think you're making up because unfortunately there are so many families and just situations they're sweeping it under the rug. Let's not talk about it. But I think because you're a chain breaker, right? And so what God has done in you is like, you're going to share your story. You know, this was not, God did not, it broke his heart to see what like happened to you, but he's going to use that for his glory and for his story to help other women be set free and be like, this happened to me too. But like you said, we don't have to lay down here. We don't have to die in this place because, you know, I know for a lot of survivors, it's the suicidal thoughts, the like, why am I here? Like all of those things happen. But the moment, what I love what you're saying is, I'm getting up and I'm going to speak, and I don't care what anybody says. This is about me sharing my story to set other people free, and I just commend you from that. Like, it's incredible that I just hearing everything, and you know, when even like I remember reading your email, when you first reached out to me, I said, this is totally God because you had no idea that I'm a survivor, and I said absolutely because I feel like it's so important that you were able to share your story and your testimony, and it just brought such great joy to my heart. I knew this was like a whole God thing, that he's doing such a new thing where this is a season and time. And we're seeing it even in news and headlines, right? That women for decades that remained silent and said something, I was sexually assaulted, I was raped, I was molested, I was abused, whatever it may be. They're coming out and they're like, this happened to me, and we're seeing justice, you know? And we know that God's like, vengeance is his, you know, but he'll take care of things. But I just, this warms my heart where I'm like, this is so, you know, even us being outside of the ring, it's such a metaphor of this is because God got in the ring with us and fought, like he was fighting right there with it. Okay, I don't know, my jab was kind of, it looked bad, didn't it? I know, I was like, I don't know how to like box, but I just feel like God got in the ring with us, you know,
for sure.
Fight it.
Like for instance, like God when he was, when he was being crucified, that's like the standard 8 count. You know, they thought he was down for the count. You know, they stoning him, they saying whatever. You know what they were doing to him? They thought they were down for the count. They thought he was down. They thought they had him done. You know, they turned their backs. But guess what? He rose. So he rose from the dead. He rose from the dead. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So if God could rise from that, you think I can't? Like, he wants us to be like him. So you're going to come in here and then you're going to steal, kill, and destroy me. God wants us to be like him. So if you come in here to steal, kill, and destroy me, God didn't lay down. He got back up. He rose from the dead. The crucifixion was a standard 8 count. He said, nah, I'm getting back up. And guess what? What did he do? He won. You know what I mean? So if God wants us to be like him, why are you still down on the ground? Because God said, get up.
Yeah.
He beat the 8 count. He got up.
And you know one thing, the whole time you're talking, I have to reference this, is that I remember like part of your story, we said you were on the concrete floor.
I would never forget.
And I was thinking, it's like, it looks like this floor, right?
It looks just like this
floor.
It
looks like, the whole time I was like, it looks just like this floor. Where you're,
feel it too.
Yeah, like just on this floor, like you're laying down. Like when you were sharing, I was like, oh my gosh, you were just like on a floor like this.
Yes.
You were on the ground, like
yes.
Dead at the end of your rope.
Cold floor. And I was done. And the child that I had, remember I was pregnant for 14. Yeah. There's a child, you know? So this is about her too. Like, I'm gonna help her too with me coming out with my story, you know, because she could start her healing process, you know? And she could start her healing process with this story. So this is all for her as well.
But you know, one thing is like, just seeing like generationally, like how you're changing the course. It's with your life and your daughter's life and your family's life. But look where your feet are. Your feet are on this concrete gown. Because he put everything under your feet. Yeah. I just think it's just this whole time I was like, when you just started sharing that about the concrete, I was like, isn't this interesting? That the place where you hit your lowest is now it's under your feet.
It's God's plan.
Yeah.
God's plan.
God's plan.
Footwork. So boom. No hands.
Okay.
Boom. Let me see. Boom. Go ahead.
Boom.
Go ahead.
Boom.
You want that right hand so bad.
I do.
Bend your knees.
Boom.
All right, now give it all to me.
Boom. Ooh.
Do it again. 1, 2. Yeah, there you go. 1, 2. So you remember I was on the bag, I was like, ha, 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 ha.
I can do that too.
1, 2. Ha, ha. Yeah, 1, 2. Ha, ha. Yeah, 1, 2. Ha, ha. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Ha, 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 ha.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Ha, 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 ha.
Give me a hug. I know, I had fun with you.
I had so much fun.